Hey there, Michael Bovee. Thanks for tuning in to DebtBytes, our YouTube channel. I want to talk today about something very exciting. It's something you don't see very often, and I've not seen in my 20-plus year career of working with consumers to resolve debt and credit problems. And that is, as I'm recording this video, we're entering into May 2017. And come this July-ish, the three major credit reporting bureaus are set to delete and no longer report a lot of tax liens, about half, and public record judgments from your state courts. If you were sued in a judgment against you, it shows up on the public record section of your credit report, and that's no longer going to happen. The reasons for this change, pretty dramatic change, is that the bureaus settled with 31 attorney generals. This was a couple years ago, so this has actually been in the works for quite a while. Actually 32 if you count the state of New York, who originally brought this to their attention, and they had to settle with New York and then the other 31 AGs. But it's a situation where the research that was done shows that tax liens at the state level more often, and these public records on judgments were shown to be inherently inaccurate. And so a furnisher, which is your bank, right, or a debt collector or somebody sending information to the credit bureaus, they have a minimum legal requirement to show only accurate, current, complete information. And so when you base that and measure whether these records, tax liens, things like judgments, things like unpaid traffic fines and things like that, they're shown to be inherently false. Whereas the federal courts and those records, like bankruptcy, maybe IRS, federal tax liens, these have been shown to be inherently accurate. So what they're doing is removing them. It's the easiest, least costly way for them to manage the situation. Now, what does this mean for you? Well, if you have tax liens that used to be able to stay on your credit report after you even paid them for 7 years, right? So let's say an unpaid tax lien for 3 years, you paid it, and you're thinking, well, it's already on there for 3, it's gonna be off in 4 more. No, it was actually, it's 7 years on paid tax liens. That's no longer an issue, okay? The tax liens just won't be there. And then if you have a judgment that you have paid off, and you're wondering, okay, well, I can go get a mortgage or a car loan, or I'll get fairly priced credit products. Actually, yes, you will. However, this is key. This is not going to do anything for somebody who has a judgment against them in state court and they haven't resolved it. It's not on your credit report, and you go to try and get a mortgage. That today, last year, 5 years ago, you weren't going to get that, even though if this was off your credit report, because judgments can stay in the court record and be valid and enforceable in a lot of cases for 10, 20 years, renewable every 10 years, last forever kind of thing. So obviously with a negative only staying on your credit report for 7 years, that's been the rules that have been followed so far, then you can not pay a judgment for 8 years and not have it on your credit report and still not get a mortgage. Why? Because for mortgage loans, the underwriters go into the public record. They are going to find these judgments, and you will not get those kinds of loan products. However, if a car lender won't be digging that deep, or there's not somebody else stepping up to provide that information, which there is, and I'll talk about that in a moment, or at least somebody attempting to, that I read some of the reports in the Wall Street Journal and other places and talk to people in the industry, and there is somebody stepping up. But just make sure that you're not going at some expectation about a judgment no longer being on your credit report, but it's still unresolved and not showing paid or satisfied in the public record in the court. You're not going to move forward on major purchases like your home, okay? There'll be other developments, and I will report on them as they come up. You might want to subscribe to this channel so that you can get those updated videos, and I'll cover this topic more as people start to, and the lending space starts to react and adapt to the missing data, if you will. But LexisNexis, which is a data aggregation company that does a lot of data types of aggregation for collections and for the lending space, is looking to step up, and this was in an article just a month ago in the Wall Street Journal, and fill that void. The inherent inaccuracies that were found in these public records for the credit bureaus to be removing them anyway have not been solved. Somehow they think that they're going to be able to solve those, and are trying to solve them today. I think they have the product, it's just not widely used because the bureaus still have them. But come this summer, that's going to change. And what you see with the CFPB, which is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, is a pattern of complaints since they've existed for several years now, that much of those complaints have to do with credit reporting and debt collection and things like that. So I'm pretty sure Lexus is inviting themselves to a whirlwind of issues regarding the CFPB complaint portal. They may quickly become the #1 complained against company. If you take all three of the bureaus who are having all of their complaints, they got plenty, right? And you tag it onto one company providing this information, I think they're in for more than they bargained for. I don't know how they're going to react to that, how those problems are going to be solved, but they're expensive problems, okay? And reputationally too. So we'll see what happens, but stay tuned. But for right now, understand that your judgments, especially those of us that have resolved collection accounts like a judgment and or like a tax lien that you've paid, it's no longer going to be there to haunt you, and it's really only going to come up, unpaid ones, in somebody that's going to finance a mortgage. Good luck with all of your financial goals as a result of this. See you on the next video.